Hello, my name is John Barley from Ritetrack NZ Ltd. We're about to go and visit a local cafe in Pukekohe by the name of Your Local Coffee House. It's owned by a young lady by the name of Ria Lingad, and she gives us a very interesting insight into the world of hospitality within a small township. Her message is really quite simple, and that is hospitality doesn't only relate to the industry, it also relates to what's within the soul of the individual. It relates to the culture and values that underpin the success and well-being of the business. Ria's background is from the food industry, and she's only recently got into the hospitality industry. Her business started in June 2018. She was the chairperson of the Coffee Guild within New Zealand, but for the vast majority of her career to date, it's been in food technology and food development, working for companies such as the Pancake House, Cerebus Greggs, and also the restaurant brand. But Ria decided to take her knowledge into the hospitality industry, and she created the local coffee house. So let's go and have a quick chat with Ria. Well, actually, it's about 40 odd minutes of really insightful information, which I hope will give business owners, not only of cafes, but or other sorts of businesses, an interesting insight as to how you can change the well-being of your business, how you can actually create immunity for your business even in times such as COVID-19. You'll see that with Ria's perspective of hospitality and what it means to her customers and to her people, her business is growing, and she doesn't see a new normal within her business. Her business is running as per normal to be able to deal with the changes of the external environment. What a wonderful way of creating immunity within your business. So let's go and visit Ria. I hope you enjoy the interview with her. See you soon. Bye.
Hospitality that we've built within us can be passed on to the guests who come here, because you can never give that genuine hospitality if the team is dysfunctional or if the team is not getting along. We don't always get along. Obviously, there are things that we disagree on, but I try to always remind people that if something is missed or if something is not done, it's just a task, but you're talking to a person who has feelings. You let go of what wasn't done or what wasn't done right, and you talk to this person in a nice way so that it's settled.
Have
So
you
it's not about
have you actually gone into the other cafes? I mean, mind you, they'd recognize you anyway, wouldn't they? So they'd try and put on a good show for you. But have any of your other people gone into the other cafes and tried out the other cafes and come back and reported to you and said, this is what they do? And then have you tried to implement some of those things into your own operation?
You mean hospitality wise or product wise?
Yeah. Well, let's say hospitality wise. Mind you, what you've just said, you beat everybody anyway. But so, and the reason I say that is because of all the cafes that I've been into, as I said before, there is not that feeling of engagement. And you actually use the word hospitality for what it really means.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because hospitality is all about how you make someone else feel.
Yeah. So
It's not the technicalities of it. The technicalities of it is customer service. So if you're saying customer service, that's making sure that you provide the right coffee, say, to a guest. But hospitality is the manner in which you gave that coffee or you serve that coffee. And so when we check out other places, we notice hospitality first, not the product. And yeah, anywhere we go, actually, not just hospitality establishments, but everywhere, because hospitality is not just a thing that you practice in hospitality. It's a skill. So being hospitable is a skill. If you don't have it, you can develop it if you have the groundwork. If you're a naturally generous and kind and empathetic person, you can deliver great hospitality. And it's something that is not just for hospitality, it's for any business. Like, good example, I go to this business called Chiropractic Edge along King Street. They're awesome. They practice great hospitality. And there's also this other business called Custom Threads, who's owned by Mala, and they're awesome too. And they practice great hospitality. So it's not just, and we love them. And we get our shirts from Mala. I get my chiropractic services from them, from the Chiropractic Edge, because they're just nice people to deal with. So it's just what goes around comes around.
And you like to deal with people that are nice people.
Exactly. And you know what? When they think of coffee, and when they need a coffee or a cake, where do they go? They come here.
Yeah.
So it's not just relationships to just guests, to people, individuals who come here, but also to businesses around us. So we can say we have a good relationship with the people at the medical center because they're just across the road from us. And we look after them. And we make sure that we think of them when we're doing something for the community. So like we have this gratitude bank going now that was a product of COVID. And so they really appreciate that. So if they have morning teas, they think of us. So it's just good business doing it that way. So we're enjoying ourselves, but at the same time, we're building relationships with people. So if ever they have a need for coffee or morning tea or lunch catering or just stuff, then they won't go anywhere else, but they will come to us.
So when the government said to you, or the government said to the media that the hospitality industry is going to be hardest hit, what you're doing is actually contrary to what the media and what the government actually forecasted, because you've still got, you're growing, and as I said, the other cafes in the Pukekohe are not as busy and as vibrant as yours, and so they're following this forecast that the government has given, but you're actually doing you're actually achieving the opposite of that, and that comes down to the feeling and the culture that you've got within your cafe.
I believe so. Part of it is that, and I really believe hospitality is a metric. So it is a business metric, and you can measure it, and you can see the effect of it. And I think if we hadn't done what we had done from day one, then we'll be in the same boat as other people. And well, generally, businesses in Pukekohe are not that, well, cafes are okay because cafes are kind of, part of the Kiwi culture. So you go to a cafe once or twice a week, but I guess more the restaurants are hit because that's kind of an occasional thing. And habits have changed over lockdown. Like we're cooking more now at home, and yeah, we're eating healthier, I guess. I guess some of those habits have been formed during lockdown, but cafes will always be part of the Kiwi culture. And it's, even if you're just getting a flat white once a week, it's still, a little treat that to get you through your week. So I think cafes are okay. But I guess the main thing for us was how quickly we have bounced back. So everyone will bounce back at some point, if you work hard on your business. But with hospitality, cash flow is king. So if you can't bounce back quickly, then you're just burning cash. So that's the thing. If you have relationships, if you take care of the people, of your people, and the people who come to you, then you can, bounce back easily or easier.
So
and I guess some businesses in the city, for example, because it's just the nature of their business that they rely on traffic, like foot traffic, and so they're hard hit.
So from your plan for the future as well, you mentioned to me that you want to use the brand of your local coffee, your local whatever it's going to be. How do you continue to have this level of engagement and continue this level of embracement and feelings when you do start to expand and you start to bring on more people? How are you going to manage that, and maintain this level of difference?
Well, like what I said, the core of our business is hospitality. So the products can be different. Like it could be coffee, or it could be bread, it could be something else. But if we keep true to the core of our business, which is hospitality, and we hire for hospitality, we hire people who are naturally hospitable. Doesn't matter how good they are, if they're not hospitable, then I'd rather get someone who has that good, yeah, great personality, or great, naturally hospitable is what I'm saying, than a very skillful person, And if we're true to our mission statement, and as long as I'm here, I don't think it'll be a challenge, because even if say you have, say, your local bakery or something, then it'll still be the same culture. So this is what we're building, is our culture of hospitality. So it's just making sure that we are able to nurture that culture every day, so that we become better at it, and then we can pass it on effectively to other people.
And you also mentioned that it's hard for some of the cafe owners. They have to work hard to basically bounce back. but you seem to do it so effortlessly. You don't, you work hard, but you do it with such a level of grace, and so it seems to be flowing quite naturally to you. So,
Yes.
but not everybody who owns a cafe is actually able to copy what you do, because what you do comes naturally to you.
Yes, because it needs to be genuine. So you can't really force someone to be hospitable if they're not like that. So Perry, who's usually in front, and Olivia and Danielle and Arlene, so everyone who's in front, and even our chefs, that is the main thing that makes us different. So it's not just me, it's not just Carrie. So if we have that culture of hospitality, meaning the whole business has it, then it's natural. So it's your culture, it's your normal. So if it's your normal, then there's no effort because it's normal.
So there, to you guys, there is no new normal. It's basically still performing as you've always performed. It's just the outside environment has changed, but because your culture is adaptable, you're actually adapting to the environment which is from the outside, but your foundation is strong.
Yes, and that's very important. To me, that's very important because, for every decision that we make, it needs to be the focus of the answer is always hospitality. So what does that do to hospitality? We're hiring this person, so what will that do to our hospitality? We are putting tables outside. What will that do to our hospitality? So
Wow.
always the question is, how does that affect our hospitality? So if everything is centered around that, then I think it's easier. And it's also easy to convey your message to your people because you're consistent and you're clear. So if something is not right, for example, people don't get along, or there is a behavior or attitude issue, then we talk about it because it affects our hospitality. I would never say I disciplined this person. We just talk about it like you would talk to your friend, or you would talk to really like a friend, because I feel like we get along and we're all friends, and we have to get along, because if we don't, people see it, people feel it. They might not see it, but you can feel the energy. So if we focus on our hospitality first, then everything else would follow.
Because you mentioned that if somebody comes to you and wants to find out what it's like to own a cafe, and they want to open one down the road, and they asked you for some wise words, would the question that you would give to them is say, well, define for me what hospitality is? And if they couldn't come up with a definition of that, or they just said, oh, it's an industry or it's a business, you would turn around to them and say, what?
That's right. But this is something that you can learn, John. So if you go to the right places, there are heaps to learn. So it's not a secret. So there are heaps of resources around where you can learn great hospitality, or you can at least read about it, and you can meet people who practice it, be, you can be in a business that practice it.
But it's not authentic.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah, well, it starts with the person. So if that person is not naturally hospitable, that's not good, because you can't be in the hospitality business if you're not hospitable. That's just, and I know some people who are not. And, we've made a couple of mistakes when we hired those people, but we had to let them go because they were not as, hospitable as we expected them to be. So yeah,
So
if you make
they did not fit into your culture.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Well,
I would rather hire someone who is naturally hospitable but lacks in skills. Because skills, I can be, patient in teaching someone skills, but you can't teach someone to be nice to someone else. Because that is something like looking after another person, having empathy, and being aware, being self-aware. Those are things that come with a person. So it's either it's there or it's not there.
what did you not like about the corporate world? And I think I already know the answer to that.
I guess it's the politics. Like corporates have so much resource and people, and they could really make a huge difference in the world. But it's sometimes it's just going round and round in circles, and it's all up to one person to decide yay or nay. So so I was part of that, and yeah, so it well, I've worked in not many places, but always in corporate.
Would you,
And I see that everywhere. I saw that. Yeah.
if you were a corporate magnate, a managing director of your own corporate in 10 years' time or 20 years' time,
Yeah.
maybe that's on the cards. Does that excite you?
It does actually. But I don't want to. I want like a lot of small businesses. Not a big corporate, but a lot of small businesses.
A lot of small businesses in the hospitality who understand hospitality for its true definition.
Probably. But yeah. I see a few businesses in the future. Yes. If I got the resource, yes.
Yeah, you've done
Yeah.
an amazing job, Ria, and my hat goes off to you. I think we've covered off an awful lot of the questions that we had, and I'm just going to say to you, and also for the benefit of the listeners, that my passion is having immunity within businesses, and everything that you have said is part of that immunity system, because having empathy, having a culture of hospitality for its true meaning can conquer anything.
True.
It doesn't
It
matter
is a metric.
what impact other environmental events have upon the business, so long as you have that ground foundation of true hospitality and true empathy, you can overcome anything.
Exactly. It's true. It is a metric like sales, like labor cost.
Like leprechauns, did you say?
Like labor cost.
Oh,
It is a metric. It is something that you can measure.
really? Can
Mm.
I ask you a question? How do you measure that in your mind?
Well, we have Goody, right? And Goody, there is a feature called Net Promoter Score. So Net Promoter Score is it's like a survey that is sent to if you sign up to our loyalty program or rewards program, Goody, it sends you a one question
Yeah.
after you've signed up. And it asks the question, how likely are you to recommend your local coffee roasters to a friend or a family member?
Yeah, I did mine.
Yeah, so it's a scale between 1 to 10.
Yes.
And if you give us between 8 and 10, that means you're a promoter.
Yeah.
So that means, you are promoting us within your inner circle, within your friends. You're telling good things about us. If you give us a 7, that means you're neutral. If it's less than 7, that means you're a detractor. So a detractor doesn't always say good things about your business or about whatever that they've experienced to their business. So they will still tell, but not good things. So since we've opened, our target was 89%, but we're now at 92%. So when we started off, it was 76%, and we knew that we had to work hard on it. And so we were maintaining, so the whole year it's been 92%. So that means we have a lot of promoters who, a lot of people saying good things about us, which is really cool. And we have about 74% response rate, which I think people are interested enough to give us what they think. And it's not just their rating, it's what they say after they give us their rating or when they give us their 10. It's always around friendliness or great customer service / hospitality, great coffee, and tasty food. So it's in that order, which is what I look for when I read those comments. And we try our best to talk to them about their feedback when they visit us, because that kind of cements the relationship. And once that's cemented, they're not going anywhere else.
You've got them.
You've got, yeah. And we feel it. So we feel when someone is and we feel it. We feel when that relationship has moved from a one-time thing to a long time or a longer term relationship. So that's how we build our regulars, I guess.
Okay.
People who come to us.
Is there a correlation between having the high results, the high percentages, that 89 to 92%? Is there a correlation between of that figure and your revenue?
It's just the repeat visits, yes. So I don't know by equation what that correlation is, but like what I said, if we maintain about 70 to 80% of people who come to us on a regular basis, then whatever happens in the outside world, we still have 80% of our transactions, because we know that they will come.
Do you think that other businesses use that system that you've got, that way of recording loyalty?
Goody is everywhere. So there are thousands of businesses that have it. I'm not sure how they use it, but it's very powerful. Like, we do give generous points, like $1 is a point, and that is really generous. And for hospitality, our margins are really not as big as other businesses, but we rely on repeat transactions or repeat visits. And we have people sometimes come to us 3 times a day, 4 times a day.
Oh.
So if if you manage to do that, then I think you've succeeded. Because even if you're, for every coffee, your gross profit is, say, it's pretty good for us because we roast our own beans, say $3, for example, and then you just multiply that with, how many repeat visits that person's done, then that's so much better than a once a week thing. So and especially now, like, I think people are really smart with their money, so some days we know, like, people don't have much money because they just have coffee and they don't eat. So we call those days coffee days. And we know that, people are just not spending a lot, especially after, say, a holiday, the school holidays, for example, or after Christmas. But we are able to understand that, in a sense that we are able to use that information as, every day as we go about our usual business. Yeah, so I guess.
So how many
Yeah.
businesses, though, do you think pay such detailed attention to the patterns within their business? What percentage of business owners would be doing that, do you think?
Well, according to James, our coach, it's less than 1%.
Oh my God.
Because in hospitality, because he's been in hospitality for 22 years. And I really try to follow what he says, although I don't always have the time to do everything that he says, but I try to do most things. And he says 99% of people I talk to have no idea of what forecast means, or what their labor cost was last week, or how many transactions they've done yesterday. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
Exactly. So in hospitality, it is tough because margins are not good. I mean, you have to do a lot of transactions to be able to, generate enough revenue so you have enough dollars in the bank.
It's really a game of mindset. And I can't work out the foundation for any cafe or restaurant or hotel is hospitality. Okay, that's the bedrock.
Yeah.
If they're not supporting that with financial statistics, then they don't know where they're going wrong with getting the people in through the front door. And that's illogical to me.
Yes, but I guess you have to go through the motions, like you have to know all your KPIs and make sure that you look at them and keep track of them. Otherwise, you won't be able to understand your business. You just really have to look at it every day and see how your business is evolving every day. Well, for us, it is every day. For some businesses that are more mature than us, then it could be every week. But at least sometimes I look at it every hour, because when we predict something, it doesn't need to happen, but we expect it to happen at a particular time. So, for example, on a Saturday, our peak has shifted by 1.5 hours. So what does that mean? So from 8 o'clock, it became 9:30, but we opened the same time. So what does that tell me? And is it because it's winter? So we also try. It's not just me looking at it. So I also share information to our staff, and the key people like Stacy and Holly and Carrie, they all have access to the reporting system, loaded reports, so they can see what's happening, and they can all make decisions that's related to their jobs based on what they see on there. And we talk about it because it's not, it is my business, but I don't run it alone. That's too hard. So I run it with people, and people people should also have the information and the tools to do their job.
So you're making them responsible for their roles, but not only that, you're giving them statistical measurements so that they can have a better understanding of their role and the purpose of their role.
Yes, yes. And each decision that we make, well, most of the time we talk about it for every decision that we, major decision that we make. So it's not just what I want. And like sometimes I get asked, what do you want? It's not what I want, it's what's right. Because if what I want is not what everyone thinks is right, then maybe they know what's right. So it's never about just my decision. And each person has their own area. So if they make a decision in that area, then that's their decision. And if I let them decide, then they own it. If they make a mistake, they own it. I don't tell them off. They tell off. They admit it themselves. That's my fault. I'm so sorry. I'll make sure I don't do that next time. And funny enough, like when we make mistakes, or when there is a complaint within the cafe or in the cafe, for say a late, because we're always so busy. Sometimes, either we don't serve the right product, or if it's not heated, or there's something wrong with the product, or the timeliness of it. There is what we call the I'm sorry brownie. So we make it a point to make up for what we've done wrong through a gesture, and whoever did that mistake should apologize. So even if it's the chef who's busy in the kitchen, you have to come out and apologize and give the brownie, because we have to turn. It goes back to the net promoter score. So if they come here and they're an 8, and then they leave and they're a 5, that's bad. So they have to go back to the 8, or they have to feel that they were still looked after, and we flip it around, and it should be a great experience for them and not a bad experience. So they should leave the place and they still feel like they feel like an 8 or a 9 even. And usually that works. Yeah, so, and people in Pukekohe are most of the time forgiving if we make mistakes. So it's not always right, but we try to catch it here and make amends while they're in the cafe.
What sort of books do you read, Rio?
Books.
Business books.
Well, the last one that I've read was when I went through a course with James O'Connell of the Hospitality Company, and it's called The Business of Hospitality. It's an 18-week course, and within those 18 weeks, you have to read a ton of books. But the one that really was my favorite was called Setting the Table by Danny Meyer. He's the CEO of the Union Square Group in New York. So he talked about his his experiences and how he's built his company, and how he centered his business around hospitality. And I get a lot of energy and inspiration from that. And James would also, share a lot of things around, like articles and stuff around this company called Zingerman's.
Mm-hmm.
So they're also based in the US, and I really admire them because they're 30-year-old business. They have many different businesses, but again, the core of their business is hospitality, and they breathe it. I want to go there someday. And yeah, it just amazes me what they do, and it's something that I strive for, I guess, or I want to be like them, say 10, 15 years down the road. Yeah, so I guess how I've always learned things through modeling. So if this, say, person or business is doing this, then I can do that too. So I try to do it and see what the effect is. So I feel that if you can't really think of what you can do, then you can just model and see what other businesses are doing, or read about other businesses who are successful and then try to model what they do. And
So
it's usually
who in the business world inspires you the most?
Like, I haven't really met him, but next to him, Ari of Zingerman's, he is quite an influential person in hospitality. But locally, it's probably James, our coach, James O'Connell, and he's quite straight up, but he's also he's opened my eyes to many things. And if it wasn't for him, then we would probably be doing our business differently.
Wow.
So I guess I had the hospitality in me, or the groundwork, but it just needed to be harnessed, and James did that. So he showed me a lot of things. He's still showing me a lot of things, and he's making me do other things. So he's been a great mentor.
So he sees you as a protege and one of his top students?
Oh, I don't think so. He has a lot of clients, but I guess the difference with us is that we started this when we opened. Usually, when he meets someone or meets a client, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
And they need help, because that's when you ask for help, when you're in trouble. But I asked for help before we opened, 18 months before we opened.
That's very wise.
So I knew, yes, because I hadn't run a business before, so I knew I needed that. I know about coffee and food maybe, but I'd never run a business before, so I knew that I needed help there. So I reached out to him through a friend. Yeah, and the journey started there.
So do you think that what you do and the lessons that you've learned in this world of hospitality and the meaning of hospitality, do you think that is transportable to other industries?
Oh yes, definitely. Like being nice to people. That's just a very human thing to do. And it's just good business. People buy from people they like. It's true. It doesn't matter what you're selling. If people like you and they're able to connect to you, they wouldn't go anywhere else. It's like going to a friend's place.
And are you going to win the Pukekohe Business Awards this year?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. Someone has to nominate us first.
Oh, really? I'll do that.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, great.
just send me the form and I'll do that. So do you actually get involved with, do you get involved with any other business awards, like the Westpac Business Awards, etc.?
We got a nomination actually for that,
Yeah?
but I don't think our business is ready for that. Maybe later on.
Really?
We're a baby. Yeah, we're a baby. We're like 2 years old, not even 2 years old. Yeah, we just want to, I just want to prove it more.
Okay. So, Ria, I've got to wind this up. And I can only say thank you ever so much for your honesty and the way that you actually communicate your thoughts. And it's been an absolute privilege and to have this conversation with you. But it's also, I love going to your cafe because it's like going to my grandmother's. Not that your people behind the counter are grandmothers, but it's just got that nice warm feeling to the point that when I go in, people know me, you know, carrot cake with a dollop of cream and a long black coffee, and John will sit down at a table and behave himself and not say much, but it's absolutely
And write your journal.
Sorry? Yeah, write my journal.
And write your journal. Yeah.
So, Ria, how do people find your cafe? Tell us what is your location, your phone number? Do they need to make bookings? Do you do parties? Do you do group functions with your food? What's on the menu for prospective clients or people who want to engage with you? First off, let's start with your address.
Yes. So we're at, our business is called Your Local Coffee Roasters.
Yeah.
We're at 3A West Street in Pukekohe. So it's just opposite Smart Bar and Monarch, in that roundabout. And our phone number is 09-238-2520.
Say that
We're
again.
also online, 09-238-2520. And our website is yourlocalcoffeeroasters.co.nz or yourlocal.coffee. It's a short of it. Or pukekohe.coffee is actually also our website.
Oh, okay.
So either of those. Yeah. And you can find all our products and our menus and our hours over there. And some information about our staff and our culture and everything else there is to know. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram. So we, you can engage with us through social media too, or just say hi and come to the cafe and we'll get to know you. And once you get to know us, there's no leaving.
Hotel California.
You're stuck with us.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you know what, John?
What?
Like what we realized, like Carrie and I were talking the other day, and what we realized too is people who come here are also like us. And so we just attract people who understand what we do, and people who don't get it or who are not quite comfortable with it, they don't come. So it's very rare that we have someone for the first time and they don't come back. Because if they're that person like us, then they're our tribe. They come back. And it's quite cool. It's quite cool to see that.
It's an interesting.
So we really don't have a lot of issues with guests because they are also nice. So you sometimes go to places and you know that
Yeah.
Oh, you'll meet a lot of people who complain a lot, or who are not really nice to the staff, or just people like that. But we don't get any of those. We probably get once every month or twice every month, but it's very rare. And that's really good for our staff, because our staff are not stressed with guests. Yeah. So that is, I guess, the win.
And as you said, you're creating a community of
Yes.
all these people that walk up King Street towards your cafe, not all at the same time, but
Sometimes at the same time. It's like, oh my goodness, everyone's here.
yeah, but everybody knows everybody, or starts to get to know everybody. And I must admit, I've made some acquaintances there, because
Yeah, like Kirk and Carol.
yeah, it is friendly. It's a lovely place to be, and I think with your genuine understanding of hospitality, even though you've come from the back room of corporate, that's your major point of difference. And I think you'll do exceedingly well. And I think a lot of businesses out there have got a lot to learn from people who understand hospitality, and what it actually means, and what difference it can actually make to a business, because
Yes.
having that understanding is for unity.
Yeah, I wish more places would do it. Like, it's not a secret. It just needs to be practiced.
But then you wouldn't
needs,
have that point of difference.
Yeah, it needs to be seen, experienced, and practiced. But it's, if you go to many places who have happy people, and places where people know you, won't that be good for everyone? Like, won't that be a happier world to be in?
Yeah, but
So
then
it's
your
definitely.
market,
I'm sorry.
then your market though would be spread over 5, 6 different cafes.
Oh, I don't think it's that way. I think it's good for the community, and it is a point of difference, but it's not something that can only be done by one business. Like what I said, like other businesses around us already practice it. But it's funny that hospitality businesses don't practice it when it's hospitality. Anyway.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
Really quite bizarre. But thank you very much. It's been an absolute delight, and I'll let.
Oh, I've enjoyed this.
Have you?
I'm surprised I didn't cry, John. I'm a crybaby.
So well, the good thing is that you've enjoyed it, and now you can go home and sit down and look at all your cake.
Well, I still have to clean.
Oh.
But that's okay. That's just my day on repeat. I do it every day.
Get in touch with what's happening.
Exactly.
I think they
that's
call
important.
that. I think they call that humility.
Yeah. True.